note, paper, and also raffle tickets. Anybody need any of those items at all before we start? Okay, wonderful. Well, as we said in our first meeting, we try to keep business limited so we can get to the professional development aspect that we're really here for. So tonight we're going to go ahead and start with Mackenzie's icebreaker to kind of get us up and moving. So she'll come up and explain.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, so my icebreaker today is called the blanket game. So it's pretty easy. It's great for middle level classrooms because it gets those kids active, and it is great for the beginning of the year when they're still learning their names. In a middle school classroom, your students will still probably know each other from the year before, but this way they can introduce each other a little bit more. So I'm going to have Megan come up, and Heidi, do you want to help? Sure. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to have a blanket in your classroom. I'm going to put the lights on first. And you're going to split into two different sides. So this way, you have one person here, one person here. Oh, okay. Well, they're going to drop the blanket, and the goal is to guess the other person's name on the other side of the tent, or on the other side of the blanket, before they can. Whoever does, wins. So we'll drop it.
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Mackenzie! Okay, we knew each other were there, so that was kind of cheating.
I just taught this to a whole school of teachers.
Did you?
And what we discovered was you don't want people to line up because they'll know who's coming next. Once they drop it, they'll look at the next person. So you say, get in your group, send somebody to the blanket. Then they send somebody to the blanket, they don't know who's coming to the blanket.
Okay.
Because otherwise you get exactly that.
Yep. So if we want to split up and kind of roughly half, and we can play.
Meeting Megan.
Okay, so can I have, I'm sorry, what's your name? Brianna. Okay, Brianna, will you come on our side, please? So we're going to try to even the teams a little bit more. 9. It's something important to remember that if you drop the blanket and have no idea what the other person's name is, that's okay, and that's the point of this game. So you can just ask them, I'm sorry. You can either guess, I guess that would be an interesting twist, you can guess. Or you can just ask them and say, I'm sorry, what's your name? Yes, yes. And whoever technically loses each match would go to the other team. So if Norma and I started, and I said Norma's name first before she said mine, Norma would join our group over here.
That I did not know. I'm learning things. I like this.
You guys might want to scooch in a
Mackenzie,
little.
you're in charge of the representatives, making sure we have one person on each side.
Go for it, actually. Okay. I was going to move one of the leadership things over here, so it's fine. One of these things, put like right here,
Okay, yeah, is this side ready yet? I already forgot.
Oh, but you don't.
That was a day off. Food. Right.
Ready?
Yes. Count it down.
1, 2, 3.
If there's a tie, the games go better. But I think that was really close. All right. Somebody else want to go?
All right.
3, 2, 1.
Hey, Erica! Wait, Heidi first. I didn't say Heidi.
3, 2, 1.
Norma! Yeah, you want to stay over here. Equal elimination.
3, 2, 1.
Robert. Nick. John. Phil. Jake. Jim. James.
This is Dylan.
I'm Dylan. I'm Tom.
Obviously, Spider-Man.
3, 2, 1.
Kesha! Yes! I knew it! I'm Katie. I'm Ellie. Okay, I'm new.
All right, so stay in the
You stay over here. You can stay here. Fine, I'll go.
3, 2, 1.
Wait, Trisha! Ellen! Dang it! Guys,
school.
I'll like move over so that
I'm just laughing.
3, 2, 1.
Miranda. Hi, Diana. Okay, Jessica. Nice to meet you.
3, 2, 1.
Oh, you're in my class.
No.
We have 332 student. Yes, in your Graham's class with you.
You know it, Heidi.
Well, I'm Heidi.
I'm deep.
That was beautiful.
3, 2, 1.
No.
Sorry, my name's Emily.
Abby.
Nice to meet you.
Oh, shoot.
Somebody.
3, 2, 1.
Erica.
Brianna.
Brianna. Yes.
Nice to meet you. Andrew.
Yeah.
I threw you in to pick them again.
Stay.
3, 2, 1.
Norma!
We got her back! I hope you were ready. I should have hesitated. 3, 2, 1.
Heidi, back here. Morgan, I see blonde hair.
Okay, has everyone gone?
That was nice. That was nice.
I was like switching up the angle.
Oh, but you got the same.
We'll do a couple more rounds then. I think everyone gets the gist.
Now people should know people's names.
Has everyone?
You have an uncanny knack at knowing names the rest of us don't have.
She's just
Stepping up for this
Well,
team.
that's what makes, we do this after we have.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Tom. Caleb.
Andrew, I'm doing something like that.
I said Tom.
Kelsey, what are you doing?
I think we're good. Okay. One more round. One more round.
Last round, throwing your best player.
Who hasn't played yet? Has everyone played?
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Trisha, you're so aggressive.
I knew it was going to
They guess you even when it's not you.
I had this feeling it was going to be you and your
Last time I felt bad, I just ran.
Oh no, you're fine. Go ahead. All right, so for attendance, did everyone sign in on the sign-in sheet? Is there anyone new, I guess I should say? Okay, did you get a folder from
I
us?
did.
Okay, in the folder, there's going to be a little brochure, and on the back of it, I think, there's like a little registration form. Yes.
I got you.
And if you give it to me, that'd be wonderful.
Great.
Anything else for attendance?
No.
Wise?
But just to keep in mind that dues are due the next week. So 2 weeks from now, our next meeting is when the dues for this semester or the year, for the year, are due. Any questions on that? Okay, so we're good for attendance here. And then Jessica, yes.
How much are dues again?
$40.
Yep.
And then $25 just for the semester.
And look, yeah, and then like if you're a student teaching in the spring, talk to us, different pricing for that as well, so. Okay, and t-shirts real quick. Woohoo.
Just real quick, we have all the t-shirts in the back there, and the order form is there. There's numbers on the t-shirts, so you can you'll see on the sheet the numbers there, and then they're on a sticky note on the t-shirts as well. So order them if you want a t-shirt, and payment will be due the next. We'll have the t-shirts in 2 weeks, and then payment will be due when you receive them. And Morgan, thanks for volunteering.
So I have a lot of great volunteer opportunities for all of you. I tried to get as many different times of day as I could. And we've got a couple different schools. I have these sign-up sheets. They're two-sided. I'll pass them out. If you're interested in volunteering for one of these times, please just check the time that you are committing to volunteer and turn it into me at the end of the meeting. I'll be sitting at the table with Jessica and Kelsey. I will talk a little bit about some of them. I kind of mentioned it last week, but we have tutoring at Farwell. Farwell is about a 30-minute drive, but I can tell you it's very worth it. It was the first thing I ever did when I joined CMLA, and it was fantastic. It's going to be one-on-one tutoring with students who really need it, and they really value your time and appreciate you being there. Those pretty much go by hours, like 8 to 9, 9 to 10, etc. We have West Intermediate is a 7th and 8th grade building here. It's about a 5-minute drive. There is lunchtime opportunity, so you'd be supervising kind of at lunch and hanging out with the kids, eating with them, things like that. Mary McGuire is a 4, 5, 6 building, I believe, and they also have a lunchtime commitment, but theirs is a little bit different. Theirs is a homework lab, and you get to help the students with their homework. Jessica, do you want to advocate for homework lab? I know you really liked it.
Yeah, I did homework lab all last year. I think it's a really great experience. The supervisor is really helpful, and she really connected well with Todd and I. We both did it, so I highly recommend it. It's not a big commitment. You can go whatever days you're available to do it. So yeah, I would do it if you can.
So again, that's homework lab for Mary McGuire. Even if you can only make it for a day or two, that would be really appreciated. And then finally, Fancher is also a lunchtime commitment from 12 to 1 any day of the week if you're interested in another lunchtime supervision activity. So, and I also do have some single events listed on the bottom here under single events. There is a homecoming dance activity thing going on Friday, October 2nd, which is coming up, and then also Thursday, November 19th, there's a Harvest Hoedown, which I think sounds awesome, another dance. I thought I'd give you guys these early just because I know I like to plan really far ahead. So if you're interested in those, please check them. I will be sending out reminders about these though as well. So I'll just pass the folder around if you just want to take out a sheet and then give it back to me whenever you are finished with it. And now we have Andrew.
How's everyone doing tonight? Good, I hope. Okay, I have the amazing honor to introduce our speaker for tonight and talk about expectations and roles in the classroom, starting from day 1 all the way through. So it'd be a pretty managed classroom. First, what I want to say about Norma, our speaker tonight. If you don't know her, she got her Bachelor's of Science in Math and Spanish from Kalamazoo College. Then she went on to get her Master's degree in Spanish from Middlebury. It's in Vermont, where she did a lot of her studying in Spain. She's very fluent in Spanish. And then she taught a little bit in middle school and then went back to school for a doctorate at the University of North Colorado, and that's when she got her middle-level education degree. But then, what Norma would really miss about teaching young adolescents, which she's taught for 20 years, she's taught math, Spanish, social studies, science. She taught the whole book. She probably made the book. Yeah, she's taught it all in 20 years, and then she's taught at CMU for 18 years. She just retired last year, and this is her 2nd year of retirement. And then that's her education and her teaching experience. And what she misses most is the eagerness, the openness, the enthusiasm of middle school students. And she says, if you know how to work with them, then you're going to have an amazing class. The students are amazing. You just need to know how to work with them. And she's going to help with one step tonight. If she gave any inspiring middle school teachers any advice, just like us all, she would say, remember, you're teaching kids, not the content. Content's one thing, but teaching kids how to be great people is just a whole different thing. And that's knowing how you're going to love teaching middle school, and you're just going to show them how to be humans, quoting by Norma. And the content's just one thing, but kids is the most important thing. And that was the big thing she wants all you guys to know. So let me introduce our speaker tonight, Norma Bailey.
Well, I'm delighted to be here. I also miss you all. I know that I retired and I needed to do it, and I'm keeping my life plenty busy with all sorts of projects, but I do miss working with you all, so I'm really excited to be here today. When they asked me if I would do a topic, I said, absolutely, you tell me the topic and I will put it together. So that's what I've done here. the topic was given was rules and expectations starting from day one. So I decided to frame it just a smidgen differently. You're going to get those two things. But I also know that there's one thing that has to happen before you can start in any of that, which is you got to know the kids. That's what it's all about, is knowing your lesson. So I have put together an outline that I'm actually going to use to guide myself, and this way you don't have to take a lot of notes. And I'm going to engage you in a couple of activities also so that you can actually see those demonstrated. The beginning of the year is absolutely crucial, and I'm sure you've heard that. That first day you will be nervous as all get out. Are these kids going to like me? Am I going to like them? What am I going to do? How am I going to, you know, all of those kinds of things are terrifying that first day. If you can remember you're teaching kids and they're as terrified as you, that will help. They want to know, who is this person that's going to spend a year with them? Am I going to like this person? Is this person going to treat me well? And if, depending on the experiences that they've had prior to you, they're going to be nervous too, not knowing if you're going to be one of those okay people. So, before you can ever start working on rules and expectations, what you have to do is get to know them. You get to know them get to know you, but they've got to get to know each other. And this is one thing that we forget about. It's one of the things I've just been working with the school on. I was invited to go and spend a day with them. Because if the kids don't know each other too, they probably will feel safe with you if you've done a good job. But they don't feel safe with each other. And so they've got to know each other. Because why would you want to work with somebody else if you didn't know that person, and know that they were kind of like you? So the first part of what I'm doing is, starting on that first day, getting acquainted. Who are we? And that's a question I wrote on the board. Who are we? And I start by doing a number of activities. Now, the kids may resist a little bit. I heard somebody say, well, you know, they had those same kids last year with them, but they didn't. And they might not even know those kids that they were with last year, because if they come from different teams or different schools. On top of it, and this is a great example I had the principal of the school I was working with told me about her son came home. He's a very engaged, active 8th grader. And he came home and said, Mom, there's this kid that had this really cool idea. And she said, well, what was his name? I don't know, just some kid. And this is at the end of the school year. They didn't even know everybody's name, didn't even know who they were. So, on that first day, you got to do some get acquainted activities. Getting to know their names, a little bit about them. After that, and I used to spend the whole first week of my school working on establishing my classroom. We did not start into contact that first week. We spent time getting to know one another, know the classroom, know me, know expectations, developing our rules, which I'll explain to you. All of that was the first important week. And people used to say to me, well, you just wasted the first week. I said, no, I just gained 35 more weeks. Because if you do that, if the kids buy in that this is our classroom, not my classroom, our classroom, our expectations, not my expectations, you've got them, okay? Which isn't to say you're not going to have occasional troubles. Kids are kids. But in general, that's what you have to think about. So the first week, every day I was doing activities. One of them would be this blanket activity, interestingly enough. After about the second or third day, when they knew enough names, then we would do this. Never do it on the first day, because they're too embarrassed. You know, you weren't embarrassed to say, hey, my name is. They are. Okay, so you have to judge when to do the activity. After that, throughout the year, you want to do a class building activity. Some activity that might take 3 to 5 minutes that keeps them talking about each other to each other. Okay? The activities can be lengthy. Some of you have done people bingo here at CMLA-CMU, which can take up to 20 minutes. Okay, you have a grid with all these different categories, and they have to run around and find who has the size 12 shoe, who has 3 siblings, all that stuff. Or it can be very, very short. I could do an activity that would take me 3 minutes. I'd come in on a Monday and I'd say, each of you, I want you to think of one thing you did that was interesting this weekend. And then I'd whip around the whole room and every kid would say one thing. They're getting to know what kids do, what each of them is, who they are. It can be connected to the curriculum. For example, I had one teacher when she was a social studies teacher, working on the whole notion of Thanksgiving. Her prompt with the kids was, I want you to think of one tradition that you do during the holiday season, starting with Thanksgiving and going through the winter holidays. Draw a picture of it or some symbol of it, paste it on the wall, and they'd all put them up on the wall. And then they did a gallery walk, and the kids got to go and look at all these things and write down 3 that they wanted to know more about. and then they would ask each other about those things. So they're getting to know each other, but still understanding holidays get celebrated in different ways. There are different traditions, okay? Or might not have anything to do with the curriculum, and I've done a good number of those, okay? I take a lot of my stuff, and some of you are familiar with it, from Kagan class building. You've done Four Corners, you've done gallery walks, you've done telefib, you've done, some of you have been with this group before. Or team building, which is very comparable. And then there are smart cards. The point is there's lots of things you can do, and they don't have to do the curriculum. They only take 2 or 3 minutes, okay? So you've got resources. Those are good resources. The second source is the internet. If you go on and just look up icebreakers, get acquainted, there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of ideas, okay? You probably have gotten packets from CMLA-CMU every semester of icebreakers that we've done here. And I have put together a packet. I did this for that school I'm working with, called Class Building Activities. The first few are learning names and about people. The second is called Practicing Names, and one of them was a blanket game. So fun to see you do that when I just taught that to the teachers. And the third is called Other Class Building Activities that aren't necessarily just getting to know names. This packet is going to be given to Andrew, who's going to scan it, upload it, and you all will have access to it. Okay? I kind of collected the best I could think of, and there are 6 pages of these. So, that's the first thing you have to do. You don't establish any rules and guidelines without recognizing they've got to get to know each other. Okay? Then the next step I have to think about is, how will we get along, learn, and grow together in this room? And that's the question I wrote on the board. How will we get along, learn, and grow together in this room? It cannot be a list of rules and do's and don'ts that comes from you as a teacher. And I've seen so many schools do that. Kids come back from summer vacation, they're kind of excited to be back at school, and they come to 6 or 7 classrooms, and all the teachers go through a list of rules. Welcome back, kids, here are the rules. That is not much of a welcome, right? Smile, guys. Is that a welcome? No, of course not. So, first of all, it can't be that. If you're giving the rules, you're in charge. You want to buy them into it, okay? I don't even use the word rules. You can use the word guidelines, norms, code of conduct. We're going to develop our code of conduct. Learning agreements. There are various terms that different people have used. Have any of you seen any other terms that people have used? Expectations. Mm-hmm. And I would frame it as our expectations, so it's expectations of us, because it's our classroom. It's not my classroom. I stay away from the word my all the time. Okay? Recognize this is a process, and it takes time. You've got to be willing to give some time to this. And if you do, then they get ownership, and then it's not the teacher's rules that I'm trying to fight against. It's our rules that we decided at home. So, there's different ways you can do it. I'm going to take you through 2 of them. Everyone's got 2 puzzle pieces? 1 or 2 or 3? All right. Come on up here. Would you please put that puzzle together?
Who's got the dog eye?
I don't think I have the dog.
I have a piece of a tie.
How about orange and yellow?
They're getting the stripes already.
I haven't had
Oh, yeah.
Then what's the bear? The bear and the bear? Okay. I think I don't know if it's a quarter though.
Do you want to put parts of the beer?
Oh, way to go,
There we
Erica.
go.
Okay. Oh, Jessica's got a corner piece that might be helpful.
Oh, wait, no, it's
I have a
tight.
corner piece as well.
I think
Joe, we've done this puzzle.
Yes, we
Here is a
have.
corner somewhere.
Okay.
Look at, there's some more purple.
I wasn't trying to say anything.
Are you sure?
Hey,
Where's the kite? Oh, wait, right there,
right
sorry.
there.
It doesn't change. Wait.
Yeah, it's true.
Trash
Where's the ground?
Where's
Oh,
the
yeah.
green corner of the kite?
Here is, oh, I
Is it there
have
you were
some
thinking?
green.
Oh, it's a kite.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, that's hard.
Sorry.
I don't, these are connected, but I don't
I don't know where this goes either. Sorry. Okay.
Oh, that's fine.
Sorry.
Here's some more straight.
Oh, I guess
We haven't even
so.
had each other.
Please go.
Hi, I'm Ellie.
Ellie, nice to meet you. I'm Joe.
Pretty dark.
Oh, yeah, it's Ken.
Please, pause. Would this help?
No.
Yeah.
I'll pull this up.
What is that?
This red's gotta
They're in
connect
Big
with
Blue
that,
House.
so you gotta rotate
Yeah,
that.
never heard of that. No, they're in Big Blue House.
That show.
I know.
You
can tell when Norma started
I have been
I've got, you can tell what era you started teaching in the puzzle.
Oh, right here?
Yeah, I
Put it in
can't-
there. I'm bringing you more speaker.
Thank you, thank you. You're such a big help.
I have. Here, more.
Oh, just
Oh wait, that might go over there. There's something about it. Oh.
Yeah.
oh.
Put these close.
Mine goes right on top of that bright blue.
That was mine.
Right blue. Here we go.
Oh,
no, wait.
Yeah, exactly. That might.
Stay together.
No. This is not gonna work out. Thank you. Right here? Here? This one? Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah, I need it.
Oh, wait,
Remember, it looks pretty
Wednesday.
like.
I don't even know what day of the week it is.
On Wednesday, we do.
Yep, what year
That
is
one would go there.
sophomore?
Oh, there.
Mondays
Fair
goes
enough.
over to here.
I must go over there with that.
Share my
Wow.
The ribbons and the toe, yeah.
To teach.
Maybe.
You're doing great.
Oh, wait, this one goes there.
I don't know.
Pick up the MLE.
You're doing good.
Like connecting here?
Yeah, that's
Oops, I can't even do it. Did I turn it around? I messed it up. Oh, okay. I thought I had a I don't like this.
I just love everything.
Yeah, yeah.
That would go there.
I know.
That far back piece, that one is right there. Right there, yep, that's right go.
You're attached to it. If I hold this piece, I get to be the last one. Good job, Morgan. We're missing a discipline. I won't say which one I am.
There we go.
One of those?
Where'd it go?
Is that what you have?
All right, let's step back for a minute. I want to ask a couple of questions. Go, stay right here. We successfully put this together. And this is what we do with this. Okay, then I start asking some questions. Whose piece is most important? I knew somebody would. But that always happens in middle school. But they really know it's not. There's no way out there. Would that puzzle be complete if somebody weren't here? If somebody wasn't there? No, it'd be an incomplete piece. We all count in this class. Every single one of us has to be here. Our voice has to be here, our contribution has to be here. But nobody's more important than anybody else. We all equally contributed to that. Then I might ask questions like, what helped us be successful in doing this puzzle? What's the things that made it successful?
The box top.
Okay. And somebody would say that, and I would say, yep, and that's my job, people. That's my job, is to help facilitate. I'm part of this classroom, but I have a little different role. I can help you out. In this case, I helped you out by showing you the picture. But remember, I'm always, always here to help you. Andrew?
I was gonna say communication.
Yeah, you listen to one another, you got suggestions from one another. I heard, thank you. I heard, that was a great piece, good idea. So we encouraged one another. We didn't fight, did we? No, because fighting takes away from our capacity to do
You call
something.
out Morgan for holding her peace forever.
You're going to see some personalities. That's the other thing, by the way, is I spend my time looking around and seeing what's going on. Some of you are right in here putting your pieces down. Some of you stood back. Some of you went in and came back out. So I'm also ascertaining and getting a handle on my class. Who are my more assertive kids? Who are my less assertive kids? Your observation is incredibly important as you're a teacher. So after we did this kind of activity, what I would do is I would ask them, what did it take for us to be successful? What kept us from being successful? Okay? And then I'd say, let's start talking about what will make us all be successful in this classroom. And they probably go back to their seats, and I'm gonna take you through another activity in a minute that's sort of similar, but more direct, where we begin to generate the ideas of what makes us successful. Because this is us. And that's what you want from your classroom. We're in this together. We're in here for 180 days to be learners together. Okay? So it's the emphasis that you put on it that makes it so important. So let's put the puzzle away, and I'm going to take you through a more direct activity so you can even see how you might do it paper and pencil. Okay? So puzzle pieces back in there, please.
No, we made that thing. We made
I filmed you when you came in late.
Yeah.
Just so everyone knows.
I do agree. I need it.
Now, I just shared one activity with you, the one I liked myself, but you can do other things. Some of you probably have done that activity where you get a group together and they all cross hands and make a knot, and then work to undo the knot. I've seen another teacher using PVC pipe. She gave every kid a piece of PVC pipe. And their job was to get, the whole class was to get a ping pong ball from here all the way down to there. And get it into a bucket. But not every kid had a PVC pipe piece. It makes it even more interesting. Because then some of them get it going and you have to have the angle right and everything. So they kept on working it until they got it done. But then again, you ask, why were we successful? What made it possible for us to do this? So it's a fairly abstract way of thinking about it, but it's kids that are being active and they're like that, okay? This other method works also. It's a more direct method. And I'm going to ask you to participate in this one also. Each of you should have a piece of paper that looks like this. You turn it over to the back side. And I'd like you to make a T chart. Most of you are familiar with those. Like that. Oops! Gotta get you visualizing.
Is a projector on?
T-chart looks like this. When your technology fails, have another method. All right? So, and this again I could do with my middle schoolers, 6th, 7th, 8th graders, okay? I'm going to do it with you as college students, but you can think about it as a college student, as an 8th grader if you wish. Here's a question. Normally I would have it written up. I didn't write it up this time, and since this isn't up, I will show it to you. You've all been in many classrooms, and I can say that to middle school. What made a classroom a successful learning environment for you? You were able to learn well. And what made a classroom an environment in which it was difficult for you to learn? So on the plus side, or the left side if you will, what made it easy for you to learn, and what made it hard for you to learn? Would you each try and come up by yourself with several ideas, several things that made it easy for you to learn, several that made it harder for you to learn? You think about a classroom, this would be the beginning of the year. So you're looking back at your previous experiences. Think particularly about interactions with fellow students. Maybe 30 more seconds, so we can get one more idea down. You might want to try and think as an 8th grader, 7th grader, 6th grader in terms of interactions with others too. Okay, now, I'm going to do some pairing here. Morgan with Andrew, Jade with Grace. And welcome back. Tom with Abby, you two. Bree with Andrew, you two, and Todd. Did she step out? No, she'll be back. Okay. What I'd like you to do now is look at your two lists and think in terms of, yeah, we're trying to create some learning agreements and guidelines for how our class is going to work. Because we're going to live together 180 days. So what would be a guideline? And finally, you have to compare each other and star the 2 or 3 that are most important to you too, to your partner and you. They're most important to you.
Or like my college fashion system.
Every 20 minutes ago.
Say,
Yeah, today in class I got like 6 1 Yeah, which is the easiest thing. So, for what makes stuff easier hard? I think the teacher makes it easy. Well, not the teacher. If you don't like the teacher, you won't like the class.
because I put like flexible teachers out there.
Yeah.
But she's only trying to focus on like classroom environment and relationships.
I think.
Yeah.
Like.
That's different, like awkward being strangers.
Yeah, like if you're the only person on your friends there, then you won't feel comfortable sharing anything.
Yeah.
And so I think that's even more of a teacher too, to facilitate everyone to be, at least to be friends, to be comfortable with each other.
Yeah. So another part of that, I put like safety, like physical, social, emotional safety. God, what's made it hard?
I think if you don't like the content, even if you have like feel like you have a good attitude, like when I go into social studies, I'm never optimistic. I don't ever have a good attitude going in there, but like.
What's your major?
I just find that I don't like.
No one gets that. But we do have project due in 3 weeks.
Literally. He's gonna be like, alright, so do I. If we're easy, I don't know. Fun while we're in campus time. You got a friend?
We will listen to my questions or something like that.
Candid interview with Megan Angeli,
Hello, CMLA.
president of CMLA.
How's it going?
Tell us about what we're doing right now.
We are discussing how to create a classroom environment and eliciting responses from students by using a T-chart and having them discuss in pairs what their idea is before they share with a large group.
Oh, thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
Hands up.
This would normally take longer, I would give more time with this, of course, but again, to try and demonstrate, you've already had conversations. Now what I would do is I'd do a whip around from the class. So I'd go to every pair and ask them to share something that they would like as a guideline or a learning agreement of how we would operate as a class together. And we'll do a couple with you. I also say, if you have something similar that you would like to add or you would like to modify how it was said, this is where you have to gain some skill at this as a teacher, because you're trying to listen and really capture what they're saying. You have to listen and recognize which of those are your responsibility, okay? If somebody's saying the class can't go very fast, I get frustrated when it's too fast, then I'm going to acknowledge that is part of my responsibility. But what we also want to do is have patience with one another, because some of you are going to pass things really quickly and some of you it's going to take you longer. So maybe the guideline has to be recognized or work with it and work with it at different paces. So this takes skill. It's not going to be an easy one for you, but it's well worth it because the kids' voices are there. So let's just try a couple here. And what I would do is, again, I would have a piece of paper and try and capture it. I'll explain what I do afterwards, okay? So let's start here. What was one that you started that's really important?
Feeling uncomfortable is like a negative.
Okay, so if you were to frame that in what do you want as a class guideline? You don't want to be uncomfortable, you want to be safe, so.
Keep on areas over here, it's okay to make mistakes.
So you would want that from me as a teacher?
Right.
Would you want it from your peers?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you want it to be safe, so maybe we want something like, because I don't want to say don't make fun of one another, because you want to stay away from the negative. Grace, can I?
Kind words.
Hmm?
Use kind words.
Okay, we use kind words in this class. Good. And kids will come up with this stuff. I don't have to come up, I just have to mess with it till I get it to something. All right, thank you. How about you two?
We want participation from everyone.
Okay, so we want everyone to be participating. Everyone participates. Okay, I'm gonna do a couple more and then there'll be quite a few and then I'll show you what we mess with. How about you two?
We said drop your negative attitude at the door, so we always have a positive attitude in the classroom.
Okay, so come with a positive attitude, have a positive attitude. Okay, I'm on the screen. Heidi and Trish.
I think we want clear expectations about what's expected of us.
Okay. So a great deal of that has to do with me. I'm your teacher. It is my responsibility. I want you to remind me of that. I want you to tell me I don't understand what you're asking me to do, or we don't understand. And that's perfectly okay because I won't always explain it right. Okay? So I might not put that one down, but I will tell them it's my responsibility to do that. And they've told me that that's important. Okay? And one more. I think there's a trio here. There's not any randomly picking students when they're not ready. Okay, so you don't want me to pick on somebody without people being ready to give an answer. So I have to do things like turn to your neighbor, talk to your shoulder partner, etc. So once again, that's really my responsibility. Okay? Now, there will be some others that will come up. Usually respect one another will come up. Any of you have show respect one another? Yeah. That one you have to operationalize. And I would ask them that. What do you mean by respect? What would it look like when you're respecting one another? Okay, they have to know concrete terms. Remember, these are middle schoolers. But I would put it down, show respect to one another, and then we might put examples. Okay? So, I worked through this. Now you gotta remember, I got 6 classes. I can do all 6 classes and then get representatives from each class to take this list and put it together to come up with one master list. Or I could have 6 different sets of guidelines. That's a decision for you as a teacher to make. But once we've decided, once we've wordsmith played with it, then what we do is I put it on a poster. And I've done this every year. Put it on a big poster. Sometimes it goes from here all the way to the floor. I have every kid sign it. And then we laminate it. And then it hangs in our room. Those are our learning agreements or our norms or our guidelines or whatever you call them for this year, for this class. Once you have those, and if they had the ownership, if they participate in creating them, they are much more likely to abide by them. They are much more likely to, I don't want to say call each other out, but certainly remind each other that, wait a minute, we agreed to this. Then you don't become I'm the teacher, I'm in charge, I'm on top of you. That makes sense? Okay? Turn to your neighbor, whoever you were just talking with, and see if you have any questions arising or anything you want to say before I move to one more idea. Question that might be arising, or?
So Jessica Anderson, Secretary, CMLA. Tell us what you've learned so far tonight.
I have learned from Norma that we have to not force things on our students. We have to be able to let them make the rules, and then we facilitate and enforce what they come up with.
Great input, Jessica. Thanks for sharing. Now back to our regularly scheduled programming. How the camera does it?
I need 2/3. How the camera does it? Say yes to this if someone brings more. Proportions.
Hearing a lull, I bring us back. What questions are arising for you around this idea? What questions are arising? Okay, this is hard work, but it pays off, I can promise you. Okay? But it does take work, and you won't do it perfectly the first time. But if you come in with a list of rules and just tell the kids this is how it is, this is how it is, this is how it is, I can tell you what, you will be battling kids all the time. You'll be fighting kids all the time, because then it becomes a game to beat the teacher. So if you can buy them in, bring them in, and remember, you've also done the get acquainted. You've done the things that help them understand you're there for them. Those two work really well. Now the third arena, when you think about the beginning of the year, and it isn't all done at the beginning of the year, is what we call routines and procedures. And we better know what those are, first of all. Not examples of them, but what's the difference between the word routine and the word procedure? If you talk to your partner, your shoulder partner, about what's the difference between those two words? No. They're connected, but they're not the same.
I know.
All of my available subbing jobs are only for tomorrow. No one's giving me Friday. Routines and procedures. Routine is what you do. Procedure is how you do it.
Right, and I think the procedure enforces the routine. Like if you know the procedure, that will like put in the routine.
I agree, Jessica.
Okay.
Thank you.
At me like I was nuts, and I'm like, no, that's right.
You have procedures to turn in assignments. You need to put them in your folder, and then put that folder in the basket, and then I put it in the basket like routine.
All righty. Jessica.
Yes.
By the way, I can call on anybody now, can't I? Why can I call on anybody? No, not because I'm the teacher, although I have power, but hopefully I haven't done that. But why does it make it safe? Because you wanted to be safe in this class, you're not uncomfortable. And I specifically just called on Jess. But why is it okay? What did I already set up so that Jess isn't uncomfortable? Already had time to talk. It's one of the absolutely important things you do always, if you're going to ask a question of that nature. you have the kids talk to one another first, and then I can call on anybody. Because at least everybody's got an answer. I could call on Jess and she said, I can't remember what we said. But that's okay, because she talked about it. And if we've got a safe classroom, she's not gonna feel embarrassed because she knows it's okay. She knows that I trust that she's trying to learn. So anyway, I still want to call on Jess here.
Okay.
What's the difference between a routine and a procedure?
Todd and I talked about how
See how she said Todd and I talked about, so she's already got a comfort level.
look at me go. We talked about how the procedure is something that you kind of set in the classroom, and then once they understand the procedure, that's when the routines start. So then they just kind of like work hand in hand. And if they don't know the procedure, there won't be a solid routine for the students to have.
The procedure is how we do things. How do we hand back papers? How do we turn in homework? How do we take attendance? How do we? The routine is when they've got it so that it's just automatic, that it automatically happens. They know where to turn in their papers. They know how to get their homework back. They know whatever. What's a routine you already have in here? A procedure that you've already got is a routine. Joe?
Come in, sign in, grab the materials at the table.
Yeah, it's already in 2 weeks. That. And it's a routine, a procedure that's become routine. What's another one? Heidi?
Ending your conversations when someone raises their hand.
Right. When whoever's leading raises his or her hand, everybody recognizes that, raises his or her hand also, and then finishes their sentence but doesn't start another paragraph. But those are already routines that you've established. Okay? Some of you do on the very first day of class. Raising hands would be one that I would do on the very first day of class. I have to have a signal to bring all these piping voices down and together. Because they're just chatterers. They're chatterers. Okay? And so the first thing I have to do is I have to teach it. So there's 3 parts of this. You got to teach it. I have to explain why I want that, why it's valuable, why it's important. Just so you know, by the way, as teachers, there's research that says if you don't have a quiet signal, sending hands, clapping, whatever it is, there's no right one to do. Out of your 180 days of instruction, you lose 20 days of instruction. You lose 20 days of instruction. You don't have a signal that works. But it doesn't work because you say, by the way, kids, every time I raise my hand, you raise your hand and be quiet. You teach it, you explain it, you model it, and then secondly, you practice it. So, if I were doing an 8 group of 6th, 7th, 8th graders, I'd explain, you need to have a quiet signal because there's going to be lots and lots of times when I'm going to have you talking to one another. You can learn a ton from each other, and I'm going to ask you lots of questions to discuss. But I also need to know that at a certain point, I can get you so that we're all quiet and we're all together again. So what I'm going to use is I'm going to raise my hand. And when you see me raise my hand, what I'd like you to do is certainly not go, nobody has to stop sentences like that. But what I would like you to do is finish your sentence. Just start, don't start a brand new paragraph. And I literally say that to kids. And then we'll very quickly become quiet. Do I expect you to instantly become quiet? No, I recognize you're human beings, so I give you a few seconds. And if somebody's still talking, I might just walk towards them. That's it. I taught it, I explained why I want it, why it's important, and now we're going to practice it. Okay, kids? Would you all just start talking to each other about the favorite movie you saw last night? And when you see my hand, though, I'd like you to raise your hand, finish your sentence. Don't start. Favorite movie you saw last week?
I'm watching The Big Brother now.
I'm watching Empire tomorrow.
Me too.
And I'm watching.
I'm gonna look at my movies this weekend. I'll text you about it. That I have. Oh no, we already said on third. What was our third?
Thank you, that was
Okay, we're
great.
good. I don't
Let's
know.
try it one more time, but this time not the movie you saw, but the best video game you've ever played. If you've never played a video game, you can talk
Pokemon
about why
Omega
you've
Ruby.
never played a video game.
Mario
It's a
Kart.
conversation that I would have to have with somebody. Go.
Mario Kart.
Pokemon Omega Ruby. It's in my backpack. At all times. Not kidding. You can go look. I played it in math today for a little bit.
This might be a dumb question. What did you play it on?
My DS.
Oh, okay.
I said I had my DS in my backpack at all times.
Oh, I thought you meant the game.
This is what
Well,
we're
the
going to
game's
use
in
for
the
our
DS.
signal, okay? Because there'll be lots of times when I'm going to have you talking, and I'd like you to use that signal. Now, I have had classes where I've asked them what signal they want. There have been different ones, some like you clapping, the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, some like the lights flip. Personally, the one that works best for me has always been the hand raise because it's quiet. When you start using other things that are noisy and interrupts people, and I don't want to interrupt people, I want people to just finish what they're doing. But the point is, I taught it, I practiced it. Now, do you think this is going to be perfect all year long? No. So the third thing you have to recognize is you are going to have to reteach. You're going to have to reteach. After a while, the kids will get sloppy with it. When they get sloppy with it, then you have to say, "Go gang, we need to do this again. Let's get ourselves back to this so it works really well for us." And then I might have to go through and practice them again. Okay? So, what are some kinds of routines and procedures that you have to think about in the classroom? What kinds of things? Because there are dozens, and I have a packet, by the way, that's going to be posted for you so you can see that. Joe, what's one?
How long students have to discuss or work in a group together on something. So the method that I learned in MLE was you have this many minutes and hold your hand up for however many minutes you want them to have.
So when you're going to have kids work in groups, you have to have a system so they know how long they're going to have. There's different ways. One is I used to say to the kids, I did in MLE, I would say, you have this many minutes. By doing it this way, instead of saying it, everybody's got to look, don't they? You have this many minutes. Okay? And then at the end of that time, I stop. I see so many teachers that don't stop at the end of 8 minutes, they keep on letting them talk. So there's another procedure that can go along with that. What can you do if that doesn't end it, Joe? In other words, if I give it 8 minutes and I'm looking around, I'm seeing lots of people really engaged in the conversation. What's another procedure?
Well, how many more minutes do you need? Have them hold up one finger, 2 fingers for 2 minutes, or up just a fist for 0?
Yep. So what I would do, if I'm seeing everybody's really engaged, I'd say, please pause. That's very different than raising my hand. I teach them that please pause and stop. And then I would ask, talk to your partner, talk to your trio, or whatever. Figure out if you need this many, 0, 1, 2, or 3 more minutes. Okay? And everybody, one person of the pair, puts their hand up, and then I look really quickly. I see 3, 2, 1, 1, 0, 1, 3. I quickly add that up in my head, and I say, okay, you have a minute and 45 seconds. Go. And then I hold it right to the minute and 45 seconds. Okay? So those are procedures. Those are routines. The kids get to know those. They know when I say please pause what it means. They know when I raise my hand. They know how many minutes. What are some other procedures? The typical kinds of things. Other parts of the word. Where do you pass in homework? How do you pass in homework? Kids waste so much time, or the classroom wastes so much time if you don't have a system for getting that in, whether it's putting it in a bin, whether it's passing it in with putting yours on top or on the bottom. Others. Enter in the class. Right out of there. How do you even enter into the classroom? Okay? For me, I just let them talk and talk and talk until I was ready to start the class, and then I stood at the front of the class. They knew that that was the signal that it's time to go. So it might be a minute or two after. We didn't have bells in my school, by the way. I taught without bells for 20 years. So but once I stood in front of the class, I meant, okay, it's time to get going here. I've seen teachers say, I'm going to have some bell work. That's a routine. There's bell work here. You're expected to have it done.